You're not here by accident. The fact that you found this right now means your quantum field is shifting. Here's what's devastating. Every morning, you wake up and immediately enter the frequency of lack, chasing relationships, abundance, recognition, peace. But the act of chasing creates an energetic signature that pushes away exactly what you're pursuing. Quantum physicists discovered that observation collapses wave functions into particles, potential into reality. But here's the layer manifestation teachers miss. Desperate observation collapses potential into more lack. The frequency of your observation determines what materializes. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field, extending 15 feet in every direction. This is measurable science. When you chase, this field broadcasts grasping and need. But the moment you genuinely stop chasing, your electromagnetic signature transforms instantaneously. Your field broadcasts wholeness, and the quantum field reorganizes around abundance. This video reveals why reality starts chasing you the moment you stop running.
You didn't end up here by chance. The reason you've stumbled upon this message right at this specific time tells us something deep is changing in the energy around you. Your awareness has been looking for that one thing that's been missing. And what I'm going to share with you is about to flip upside down everything you believed you understood about bringing things into your life, shaping your world, and why the strategies you've been using haven't been delivering the results you thought they would. Most people go through their whole lives running after things, going after relationships, seeking money, looking for validation, searching for inner calm. They open their eyes each morning and instantly tune into a frequency of not having enough, sending a message to the world that what they want isn't already theirs. And here's the part that really stings. The actual process of running after something creates an energetic pattern that repels the very things they're trying to bring closer. But you're about to learn why the way reality works seems totally opposite to everything society has programmed you to think. There's a principle at the quantum level that fewer than 1 out of 100 people will ever really grasp. And once it clicks for you, you'll see your entire existence through a brand new lens. The second you quit running after things, something remarkable starts happening at the most basic level of what we call reality itself. Take a moment right now and really feel this truth. Everything you've been running toward has been moving away from you. Not because you're unworthy, not because you're messing up somewhere, but because the act of chasing itself creates an energetic pattern similar to trying to push water up a hill. You've been working against the basic laws of how awareness connects with the field of all possibilities. Here's what scientists studying quantum mechanics found that shifts everything. The observer effect shows us that simply watching something causes wave functions to collapse into particles, turning what could be into what is. But there's something deeper here that most teachers talking about manifestation completely overlook. When you observe from a place of desperation, neediness, or feeling like you lack something, you actually collapse potential into creating more of that emptiness. The energetic signature of how you're observing determines what shows up in physical form. When you chase after something, you're watching it from a state of not having it yet. Every single thought centered on getting what you don't have strengthens the brain pathways connected to absence. Your mind can't tell the difference between moving toward a goal and running away from feeling empty. Both trigger the same stress reaction, the same patterns of cortisol flooding your system, the same electromagnetic signal of deficiency broadcasting outward from the electromagnetic field your heart creates. Studies from the HeartMath Institute show us that your heart creates an electromagnetic field that reaches out 15 feet in all directions around you. This isn't just some poetic idea. This is actual, measurable science. When you're operating in chasing mode, this field sends out a particular frequency pattern that other people can actually pick up on, even when they're not thinking about it consciously. You enter spaces and people unconsciously sense the energy of reaching, of wanting, of feeling incomplete radiating from you. But here's where the whole thing flips. The instant you truly stop chasing, the moment you transition from pursuit energy into receiving energy, your electromagnetic signal transforms right away. Your field starts broadcasting completeness, wholeness, having enough. And the quantum field, which has been arranging itself around your previous frequency of lacking, suddenly rearranges itself around this new frequency of already having. This is exactly why mystery schools from ancient times taught surrender as the most powerful spiritual practice. They grasped intuitively what quantum mechanics now confirms through science. Surrender isn't about quitting. Surrender is about handing things over. It's the conscious choice to stop trying to force reality to match your limited imagination and instead let reality bring you something far more amazing than you could have even thought of. Think about what happens in the natural world when you try to catch a butterfly. The harder you chase it, the more it flies away from you. But if you sit completely still, become totally present in the moment, many times the butterfly will land right on you without any effort. This isn't just a nice metaphor. This is actually how energy responds to consciousness. Every wisdom tradition throughout all of history has pointed to this same truth, just using different words. The Taoists named it Wu Wei, action without effort. The Buddhists talked, the Christian mystics taught about letting go and letting God take over. They were all describing the same quantum principle. Stop chasing and reality starts chasing you. If you're sensing something changing inside you right now, if what I'm saying is landing in your awareness with a feeling of yes, I know this, take a second and drop a comment below, sharing one thing you truly want to manifest and what makes it most important to you right now. Maybe it's financial abundance. Maybe it's a loving relationship. Maybe it's a healthy body. Maybe it's something completely unique to your journey. Let this be a small but powerful declaration, a signal you're sending out not just in this space but into the quantum field itself. Don't just type it quickly. Really feel it as you put it into words. You're literally programming new instructions into the fabric of reality itself. Now, let me show you what's actually going on when you shift out of pursuit mode. Your nervous system has been trained from when you were little to think that working harder equals getting better outcomes. Society programs you to hustle, to grind, to push, to make things happen by force. But your nervous system can't tell the difference between taking productive action and desperately striving. Both activate the same sympathetic stress reaction that shuts down your ability to receive inspired guidance and notice synchronistic opportunities. When you're in constant pursuit mode, your nervous system runs from what brain scientists call the dorsal vagal state, a shutdown response where your ability to actually see opportunities literally decreases. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that sorts through incoming information, narrows down to focus on threats and problems. You become unable to see the very signs and synchronicities that could lead you effortlessly toward what you desire. But the instant you genuinely stop chasing, your nervous system transitions into what's called the ventral vagal state, a state of social connection and openness where your perceptual filters expand. Suddenly, you start seeing coincidences, random encounters, unexpected opportunities that were always sitting right there, but invisible to your pursuit-focused awareness. This is where most people mess up in a big way. They hear about surrender and they mix it up with being passive. They think stopping the chase means becoming inactive, throwing in the towel, or accepting less than they deserve. This is totally backwards. Real surrender is actually the most powerful state of being you can tap into because you're no longer burning energy swimming against the current. You become available for inspired action instead of forced action. Inspired action and forced action feel completely different in your physical body. Forced action creates tension, worry, a feeling of having to push through resistance. Inspired action feels natural, energizing, right. It's the difference between trying to open a door by pushing on the hinges versus just turning the handle. Both involve moving, but one works with how things are designed, while the other fights against it. Here's what happens at the quantum level when you stop chasing. Your consciousness stops collapsing potential into the narrow outcomes your mind has been obsessed with. Instead, the field of infinite possibility stays open, letting reality organize itself around the highest potential for your growth. What appears might look different from what you thought you wanted, but it always serves your deepest evolution in ways your limited viewpoint couldn't have predicted. Ancient Egyptian initiates understood this principle and built it into their temple teachings. They spoke of Ma'at, the cosmic principle of balance and right order. When you align with Ma'at, when you stop forcing and start flowing, the whole universe works together to support you. They knew that reality itself has an intelligence, a benevolent organizing force that's constantly working to deliver exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. The Vedic tradition teaches a similar concept through the principle of Dharma, righteous action aligned with cosmic order. When you pursue from ego, you're acting outside Dharma and creating karmic resistance that eventually has to be resolved. But when you surrender to the flow of Dharma, when you let your actions come from alignment rather than desperation, you move through life with the momentum of the universe itself, pushing you forward. This might sound abstract, so let me make it real. Think about the times in your life when something you wanted really badly finally came to you. If you look at those moments honestly, you'll probably see a pattern. The manifestation. Your attachment wasn't keeping your desire safe. Your attachment was blocking your desire. Every time you checked your phone, desperately hoping for that call, every time you refreshed your bank account looking for proof of abundance, every time you scanned your surroundings for evidence that your manifestation was arriving, you were collapsing the quantum wave of possibility into the current reality of lack. But here's what changes everything. When you truly grasp that your desires exist as waves of potential in the quantum field, already whole, already perfect, just waiting for you to tune your frequency to receive them, you can finally take a breath. You don't need to chase what's already yours. You just need to become the person who naturally receives it. This is the identity shift that separates the top 1% from everyone else. Most people try to get things so they can become someone. They think, when I have the relationship, then I'll feel whole. When I have the money, then I'll feel safe. When I have the recognition, then I'll feel valuable. But consciousness doesn't operate that way. You have to become the person who naturally attracts those things before they can show up in your reality. The version of you who has everything you desire doesn't chase. That version of you moves through life with quiet certainty, trusting that what belongs to them finds them. That version breathes differently, walks differently, makes choices differently. And here's the beautiful secret. You don't have to wait to become that version. You can choose to embody that frequency right now, in this moment. Take another breath and really feel into this. Who would you be if you already had everything you're currently pursuing? How would that version of you show up today? What would they notice? What would they take for granted that your current self thinks is extraordinary? This isn't visualization. This is identity coherence training. Literally, rewiring your nervous system to expect the reality you desire rather than the reality you fear. Brain science proves that your mind cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and an actual experience. When you consistently embody your expanded identity, you create new neural pathways that make that identity your default state. Your subconscious mind starts filtering reality through the lens of this new identity. And suddenly opportunities that were always present become visible. But let me address the pushback that's probably coming up in your mind right now. Part of you is thinking, if I stop chasing, nothing will happen. If I don't push, I'll lose momentum. If I surrender, I'll miss my chance. This fear is your ego's final defense mechanism, trying to keep control over a process it was never meant to control. Your ego thinks it's the author of your life, that your conscious planning and forcing creates your reality. But quantum physics shows us something your ego doesn't want you knowing. Your consciousness is connected to a field of infinite intelligence that's arranging synchronicities and opportunities at levels far beyond your ego's ability to see or plan. When you chase, you're basically telling this infinite intelligence, I don't trust you. I need to control this myself. And the field responds by backing off, letting you wear yourself out, trying to force outcomes through pure willpower. But when you stop chasing, when you genuinely surrender to the intelligence that beats your heart without your conscious direction and grows your fingernails while you sleep, the field responds by flooding your reality with opportunities you couldn't have created through any amount of effort. This is what the mystics meant by grace. Grace isn't something you earn through spiritual practices or good behavior. Grace is what naturally flows when you stop blocking it with your grasping and controlling. Grace is the universe's default response to consciousness that's open and receptive rather than closed and demanding. But before we move forward, I want to invite you into something real. If you've been feeling like something's making sense, and if a part of you is realizing your own power, tap like if you just had an aha moment, because like attracts like, and subscribe. Stay with this space. Grow with us. This isn't just a channel. This is a community of conscious creators. Now let's go deeper into the actual mechanism of how reality responds when you stop chasing. There's a phenomenon in quantum physics called superposition, where particles exist in all possible states at the same time until observation collapses them into one specific state. When you chase desperately from lack, you're observing from such a narrow, contracted frequency that you collapse this infinite potential into very limited outcomes. But when you stop chasing, when you expand into trust and receptivity, you allow the field to collapse your desires into forms that might be even more perfect than what your limited imagination could have thought up. Think of it like trying to control exactly how a river flows versus letting the river find its own path to the ocean. Both approaches get the river to the ocean, but one requires exhausting constant effort, while the other harnesses the natural intelligence of gravity and the shape of the land. Your desires are like that river. They know how to reach you. Your job isn't to control every turn and curve. Your job is to stop damming the flow with your doubt and desperation. Research in quantum biology is now showing us that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it participates in reality's creation at every level. Your thoughts generate measurable electromagnetic frequencies that interact with the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum that's not actually empty, but filled with virtual particles and infinite creative potential. When your thought patterns shift from chasing to receiving, from lack to abundance, from forcing to allowing, the zero-point field reorganizes around these new frequencies. This reorganization happens instantaneously, not gradually, not eventually, immediately. The moment your internal frequency shifts, the external field begins rearranging to match. But here's why most people don't notice this immediate shift. They're so focused on external circumstances, so busy scanning for evidence, that they miss the subtle internal knowing that comes before physical manifestation. Before anything materializes in your three-dimensional reality, it first crystallizes in your consciousness as a sense of knowing, a feeling of rightness, an intuitive certainty that something has shifted. This is the first sign that reality is chasing you. You start feeling pulled towards certain actions, drawn to specific places, inspired to connect with particular people. These aren't random impulses. They're the universe's navigation system, guiding you toward the manifestation that's already complete in the quantum field and now materializing into form. But you'll only perceive this guidance if you're not drowning it out with the noise of chasing. When you're constantly pushing, forcing, trying to make things happen, you can't hear the quiet whispers of inspired guidance. It's like trying to hear a gentle melody while standing next to a jackhammer. You need to turn off the jackhammer of desperate pursuit to perceive the symphony of synchronicity that's always playing. Here's a practice that will help you make this shift tangible. For the next 24 hours, I want you to conduct an experiment. Every time you notice yourself in chasing energy, obsessively checking outcomes, forcing conversations, pushing for results, I want you to pause, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself this question. What would it feel like if this desire was already fulfilled and simply making its way to me right now? Feel into that frequency. Let your body remember what peace feels like, what trust feels like, what certainty feels like. This isn't pretending or denial. This is tuning your consciousness to the frequency where your desire already exists, because it does already exist in the quantum field. You're not trying to create something from nothing. You're aligning with something that's already complete and allowing it to materialize in your experience. Now, I want to share something that might challenge your current understanding. The things you've been chasing, are they really what you want? Or are they what you think you need in order to feel a certain way? Most people are chasing objects, outcomes, and circumstances when what they actually desire are the feelings they believe those things will provide. You don't want the money. You want the security and freedom you believe money will give you. You don't want the relationship. You want the love and connection you believe the relationship will provide. You don't want the recognition. You want the worthiness and validation you believe recognition will confirm. But here's the liberation. You can access those feelings right now without waiting for external circumstances to grant you permission to feel them. When you give yourself the feelings you've been chasing, something miraculous happens. You stop chasing. And the moment you stop chasing, reality starts delivering the external forms that match your internal state. This is the secret that ancient alchemists were really teaching. The laboratory was their own awareness, and the philosopher's stone was the realization that you already are what you've been seeking. This might be the most important thing you ever hear. You are not incomplete. You are not broken. You are not missing anything. The chase itself created the illusion of lack. The moment you stop chasing, you realize you were always whole, always complete, always connected to infinite abundance. The external manifestations are simply reflections of this internal recognition materializing into form. Drop a word in the comments that captures the energy you're stepping into today. Trust, flow, joy, ease. Your word matters. Let this be your energetic signature to the quantum field. Your declaration that you're stepping out of pursuit energy and into receiving energy. This isn't just a comment. It's a conscious interruption in the old pattern, a choice point where you redirect your life's trajectory. As you embody this frequency of no longer chasing, you'll start noticing something remarkable. Opportunities begin appearing that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. The right person messages you out of nowhere. The unexpected check arrives exactly when you need it. The solution to a problem you've been wrestling with suddenly becomes obvious. These aren't miracles. These are the natural result of reality responding to your shifted frequency. Scientists studying complex systems have discovered something fascinating called emergence, where new properties arise spontaneously when a system reaches a critical threshold of organization. Your consciousness is undergoing emergence right now. As you integrate this understanding, as you embody this new way of being, abilities you didn't know you had will suddenly become available. Insights will arise that feel like remembering rather than learning. You're not becoming something new, you're remembering something ancient. Your soul has always known this truth. Before you incarnated into this physical form, before you learned all the limiting beliefs about effort and struggle and scarcity, your consciousness operated from this frequency of natural abundance. Children understand this intuitively. Watch a child at play. They don't chase joy. They embody joy, and joy chases them. They don't pursue creativity. They surrender to creativity, and it flows through them effortlessly. Somewhere along the path to adulthood, you learn to trade flow for force, to exchange trust for control, to substitute chasing for allowing. But that original knowing never left you. It's been waiting patiently beneath all the conditioning, beneath all the programming, beneath all the fear. And now it's waking up. You're remembering how reality actually works. The Hopi elders have a saying, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." This isn't just inspirational poetry. This is quantum truth. You are not waiting for some future version of yourself to arrive and save you. You are not waiting for external circumstances to align perfectly before you can access your power. The one you've been waiting for is the one reading these words right now, ready to stop chasing and start receiving. But let me be crystal clear about something. Stopping the chase doesn't mean sitting on your couch eating chips waiting for the universe to deliver. It means shifting from forced action to inspired action, from desperation to clarity, from pushing to flowing. You'll still take action, but your actions will arise from alignment rather than anxiety, from trust rather than fear, from abundance rather than lack. And these aligned actions carry completely different energy. When you act from inspiration rather than desperation, you move with the momentum of the entire universe supporting you. Doors open effortlessly. Resources appear exactly when needed. People say yes to requests you haven't even made yet. This is what it feels like when reality starts chasing you, instead of you chasing reality. Your breakthrough is not coming someday. Your breakthrough is happening right now, in this moment. As you absorb these words, as these concepts integrate into your consciousness, as your neural pathways rewire to support this new understanding, every insight that's resonating, every recognition that's arising, every shift you're feeling is your consciousness reorganizing itself around a completely different operating system. The old operating system ran on lack, fear, and control. The new operating system runs on abundance, trust, and flow. You're not just learning new information. You're undergoing a fundamental upgrade in how you welcome to the frequency where miracles are normal, synchronicities are daily occurrences, and the universe conspires constantly in your favor. Not because you're special, but because you've remembered how to align with the way consciousness actually creates reality. You've stopped fighting against the current and learned to navigate with it. You've traded the exhaustion of pursuit for the exhilaration of reception. This is your invitation. Not to do more, but to be more. Not to chase harder, but to trust deeper. Not to force outcomes, but to allow emergence. The moment you truly stop chasing, you'll discover that everything you've been pursuing was already on its way to you. You were just moving too fast in the wrong direction to notice it arriving. Stand still. Let reality catch up to you. Let it chase you for a change. Make sure you share this video with your loved ones. Remember, you're not just sharing, you're spreading a frequency of awakening, and that positive energy will help manifest everything you commented about today. For you, it may be just sharing, but for someone in need, it could be the ray of hope they needed today, the breakthrough moment they've been waiting for.